Yo dudes! Welcome to Meal Prep for Weight Loss. This is a simple video where we spent under 10 euros in Super Value this morning. And the purpose is to show that we can feed you for 3 days, making sure that it's cheap, it's healthy, it'll help you lose weight or maintain a healthy weight, and it will taste delicious. So first thing we bought was a kilo of porridge, also known as oatmeal. And we're gonna make some porridge or oatmeal for breakfast. Very simple, we're gonna base it on water and we're gonna pimp it up by caramelizing some bananas. The beautiful thing about this meal plan and that makes it so optimum for maintaining a healthy weight is that it's high in fiber and it's low in calories. So it's gonna fill you up and pack you full of nutrition. So I've cooked porridge for 3 days here, simple oatmeal. I went for 1 part oats, this was a smaller oat flake, to 2 part water. I'm gonna pop that in and I'm gonna show you how to caramelize a banana. Next step to caramelize a banana. The more browner the banana, the more sweet or kind of sugars that have been released, and the more green a banana, the more it's still a carbohydrate as opposed to a sweet. So chop your banana in half and then chop it lengthwise in half, and then we're just gonna put it straight in a pan. The pan should be about medium heat, so not too hot. If it's too hot, the sugars will caramelize too quickly and they're more likely to burn. And if it's too low, it's gonna stew as opposed to caramelize. So just pop them down in the pan like this. So these bananas haven't been too ripe. You notice there was a tiny bit of green around the edge. So a simple way just to get them to caramelize is we need sugars in there. So I'm just going in with a little bit of liquid sweetener. So I've got a bit of coconut sugar in there. Well, that's just a liquid one. And just what it's gonna do is it's gonna give the sugars with which I'm trying to spread them around and get that sugars on it now. Okay, caramelized banana just in on top of the porridge. And obviously if you can choose browner bananas, you don't need to add any kind of liquid sweetener in there. They're just caramelizing their own sugars. Next up, while we have the hob out, is we're gonna make the dinner. And because we wanna make this low in fat, this is oil free. So really important part of oil free is make sure your pan is piping hot. So we're gonna make a simple curry. We're gonna base our sauce on a small little can of coconut milk. Yes, this will have about 18% fat content per weight, but we're gonna dilute it massively with veg stock. So, base of a typical Indian curry is typical onion, garlic, ginger, and chili. So we wanna make this fast cooking just to minimize your time in the kitchen. So I'm gonna use scallions, also known as spring onions. Chop them at a slight 45-degree angle, just for a little bit more surface area and a little bit more style. Okay, so we've got our pan nice and hot. A simple way of checking if it's hot is drop a little drop of water and it should evaporate or just little droplets form. So I've got my bunch of scallions, also known as spring onions in England. I'm gonna pop them into the pan. And as I mentioned, the base of typical an Indian stock is known as onion, garlic, ginger, and chili. So I've got 3 cloves of garlic. I've got about a half a thumb-sized piece of ginger, about that much, and I went with half a chili. I left the seeds in because I like it a little bit hot, but obviously leave them out if you don't. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to develop flavor through browning. So I'm gonna just leave them sit here for a couple of minutes just until they start to brown and caramelize. So while they're kind of cooking away, I'm gonna just prep our veg. So I've got 2 red peppers, they were on special today, also known as capsicum. Okay, so the scallions have developed a nice little bit of flavor. I'm gonna pop in with our peppers. In they go. I'm gonna pop in a little pinch of salt with that. What that's gonna do is help the peppers just release a little bit of moisture, meaning that it's gonna make them brown a little bit easier. Next step, we've got a massive big head of broccoli, and many people tend to just throw out the stalk, but the stalk is highly nutritious and it's packed full of goodness. So I'm gonna just chop this finely and get it frying quickly. So broccoli was in special today in Super Value, so I was able to get this huge big head for 89 cents. So obviously use whatever veg is on special in your supermarket or whatever's on in that week, and it'll just mean you're cooking in season and you're getting things when they're cheaper and they're at their best. So that's enough broccoli. The remainder I'm just gonna put in the freezer. Broccoli freezes really well and it's more than enough for 3 days. Okay. I'm gonna make my sauce just before I add in our broccoli. So the basis of our sauce. First step is I'm gonna add some spices. I want to keep this simple, really accessible and really democratic. So I'm just gonna put in 2 tablespoons of curry powder. I'm using medium curry powder. Use hot if you like it hot and use whatever you have. And if you don't have any, call into a mate might have it. So I'm putting it into the pan here just to kind of add a little bit of heat to enliven it. And as I said earlier, there's a lovely smell of kind of clove and cardamom and slight aromatics coming off it. Next step, can of coconut milk. I have one small 160 ml, so tiny little baby can. The can is about 20% fat content, but our sauce is going to be predominantly veg stock. This is just going to add a creaminess and a slight sense of indulgence to our curry. We have about 400 ml of veg stock. So I'm just going to pour that into the tin just to get any remaining sauce out of that. We don't want to lose any bit of that creamy loveliness. So in goes our 400 ml. So the total volume of that sauce is about 600 ml in there. I'm going to turn the pan up. I'm going to put the rest of our broccoli in. I'm just going to put the lid on now and enable, one, keep all the sauce in there, and two, allow it to steam, the broccoli to steam until it's cooked right. So while my broccoli is cooking there, I'm going to make our couscous. So I've just got some simple couscous. If you can find wholemeal couscous, it'll just have a slightly higher fibre content. So I'm going to pop in our full bag of couscous. Again, we're not using any oil here, so I'm just going to put in a nice pinch of salt. If I wanted to make it yellow, I'd put some turmeric through. If I wanted to make it red, I could put some sweet paprika through it. I could put any little bits to add more flavour, but I'm just keeping it neutral just with salt. I'm taking the kettle boiled water. I'm just going to cover it. Just literally fill it until it's submerged with water. Pop our lid on and we're going to leave that for 5 minutes. Okay, we've let our curry cook for about 5 minutes. Mostly what our indication of it being ready is just the broccoli. So take a little floret of broccoli and just check that it's cooked all the way through. That's lovely, wow. And it's got a nice note of curry to it. Excuse me, talking my mouth out. Last thing to do with the curry is just to taste and balance the seasoning. I'm going to turn it off the heat. Just take our little bit of sauce. And when I taste it, I'm just trying to balance the salt, the sweet, the acidity, the bitter, and the umami. So I'm going to add in a little, to me that tastes a tiny bit too salty from our veg stock, so I'm just going to put in a little bit of water that's just going to dilute it ever so slightly. I'm going to put in a little bit of tamari, a tiny little bit of tamari that's just going to add a little bit of that kind of extra concentrated flavour, and I'm going to put in a little small bit of acid. So ideally you'd use lime or lemon or something that would be more typical in a curry, but you get away with a little bit of vinegar, just a little tiny. It's just going to add a vibrancy, and it's just going to cut through the sauce a little bit. So that's our curry done. In terms of our wholemeal couscous, just take a fork and just fluff it up. Just be careful obviously so you don't spill it. So we have made enough couscous, so this will probably serve 5. This was 500 grams, so this will probably be about 5 servings. So there will be about 2 that I can use for lunch. So I'm just going to show you here, we're going to pour out 3 dinners. And again, the beautiful thing about this meal plan for weight loss is you should eat as much of it as you want, provided you're sticking with the program here. You should never be hungry because the food naturally is high in fibre and low in calories. That's brekkie and lunch done. So the whole idea of this weight loss is because we've had 20,000 people through our online Happy Heart course, and we've seen an average drop of cholesterol of 20%. People lose weight. If they've weight to lose, they get more energy and they kind of feel a lot healthier. If anyone's interested in more, check out, link down below to our online Happy Heart course. Works fabulous. And one of the beautiful things is people learn how to cook without oil. The very idea of it might sound like cooking without oil, but you'd be surprised. Anyway, right, so there's brekkie, there's lunch. We do have some spare couscous. So I'm going to show you a simple way of making hummus. So today chickpeas were 45 cents a can. So I have 2 cans here that I've drained and rinsed. In they go into the food processor. Next up, I have tahini in the press. Use whatever type of tahini. Tahini is a whole food source of fat. So instead of the fat coming from oil, which is no fibres and 120 calories per tablespoon, we're using tahini. Yes, it is about a 50% fat content, but it's also really high in fibre. So I'm just going with 2 tablespoons of tahini. I have 2 large cloves of garlic, in they go, 2 tablespoons of tahini. I'm going to start with about 1 teaspoon of, these are coarse salt flakes, so it might seem like lots, but a kind of generous serving. I've got the juice of 1 whole lemon. If you don't have a whole lemon, just use 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. I love cumin in my hummus. Many people don't, but I love it. So I'm gonna go with about a tablespoon. I'm gonna blend that up to start with, and I'm gonna just start adding in water as required. Okay, that's our hummus blended. Hummus, you're trying to balance 3 elements. So first thing, texture, make sure it's not too thick, not too thin. Texture is lovely. Next thing, if your hummus tastes flat, salt. Salt is the first element of seasoning which you go to. That's balanced in terms of salt. Next, acidity, that's gonna cut through. That tastes pretty balanced. So that hummus is ready to go. For a lunch, I've got some wholemeal pittas. I was able to get 8 wholemeal pittas for 80 cents, so very cheap. So I've simply toasted them. These are gonna be my lunch every day. I'm just gonna cut the edge off it. It makes it very easy to fill it. And I can use that as a soldier. So next step, meat, turmeric infused carrot ribbons. Sounds very complicated, but it's a nice simple way of taking a carrot and making it multi-dimensional. So carrot, second sweetest of all vegetables. Take a potato peeler, and we're just gonna peel it into nice long ribbons. So I've got a nice clean jar. I'm gonna pop in our carrot ribbons. In on top of that, I've got a little bit of turmeric powder. Turmeric is quite anti-inflammatory. Often when you put a little bit of black pepper and a little bit of fat, makes it a lot more absorbable. So I'm gonna put a little pinch of black pepper. And then on top, I just have any type of vinegar. I'm just using some rice wine vinegar that I have. Use whatever type you have. Just cover it with half vinegar and half water. Even that sitting for 5 minutes is gonna develop a lovely kind of acidic note, which is gonna add just a whole other element to our sandwiches. So I'm gonna leave that just sit there while I get the other elements of our sandwich ready. So I've got some cucumber. So in terms of our pita, so I've got my toasted wholemeal pita. I like it nice and crunchy. Nice generous serving of low-fat hummus. In on top next, I have some cherry tomatoes. I've half these or quarter these just to get them in there. I'm gonna pop in some cucumber for a little bit of fresh juiciness. And then I'm gonna add in a little bit of acidity. So just drain a little bit of that vinegar, and what that's gonna add is it's gonna add sweetness, acidity, and just an extra kind of an extra element of flavor, which will contrast everything else in your sandwich. So there is a simple toasted wholemeal pita. For each day, you're gonna have 2 toasted wholemeal pittas. You have a little bit of couscous there, and you can have a little bit of leftover curry to go in it. So there you are, meal prep for weight loss. Costs less than 10 euros. We've made food for 3 days. As I said, eat as much as you want. It's really high in fiber and it's low in calories. You have some spare pittas, which you can fill up with extra hummus. You have some spare couscous there. There is loads of food for less than 10 euros. If anyone's interested in learning more about our online Happy Heart course, check it out down below. We've had 20,000 people do it. It can be done from all over the world from the comfort of your own home. And one of the best bit that makes it most successful is the strong community support. We do weekly Q&As. There's closed online groups helping support you. Thanks for watching. Hope this vid's of help, and cheers!